I wanted to start talking about. You guys have this limited release single barrel double oaked collab with kind of jumping into our sports world, as we said at the beginning, the PGA Golf Pro Kevin Kisner, the Kiz as some people know him. Can you kind of walk through how that partnership came about?
Yeah, Kevin is he's a great guy, and he's super down to earth, and he respects the craft and the effort of golf just as much as he does the craft of making a great whiskey. And his famous saying is, whiskey and golf, it ain't no hobby, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of passion that goes into it. So with how great a player he is and how great a person he is, and everything that goes into perfecting his golf game, we thought that it was nothing but a natural fit for us to partner with somebody like him. And he's been fantastic. He's a great guy to work with, an amazing golfer. And we are so happy to have the partnership with him on the Chicken Cock Whiskey end. So that's kind of how the partnership came about. And what we started doing, specifically this year, is we had a private cast program last year. It was very limited. We only had about 20 or so barrels to divvy up across the country. We wanted to get a little bit more flexible and a little bit more creative with our private cask offerings into this year. So we do offer private cask selections of our normal bourbon. And we've also done a couple of those older age Kentucky straight bourbon bottles that are barrel proof from last year. But, again, that flexibility, that creativity, we wanted to offer something different, specifically when it came to media partners and marketing partners. So we've done a few of them this year, but Kevin Kisner has selected a couple different barrels using our double oak. Now, our double oak Kentucky straight whiskey here, this is our off-the-shelf bottle. You can find this at retailers, at bars, restaurants, all that stuff. This is a new whiskey that we came out with last year. Double oak was aged in used barrels for the first 7 years, and then transferred to brand new white oak and aged for another 18 months, and then dumped out. It's a high corn recipe whiskey. It is phenomenal. I love it just as it is in this bottle at 92 proof. But when we got the opportunity to start selecting single barrels for marketing partnerships, man, it blew the roof off. Tasting this whiskey, the single barrels are 9 years old and bottled at barrel proof. So you can imagine the flavor that's in this 92 proof bottle that we offer on the shelf, and then go to that barrel proof at 9 years old. It blows the roof off, in my opinion. It is phenomenal whiskey. So we've been doing that program here. Like I said, Kevin Kisner selected a couple of barrels of this. And like I said, I don't unfortunately have a sample in front of me of that Kiz pick, but I can imagine it is phenomenal. I helped pick a barrel of this with the New Orleans Bourbon Festival, and if it's half as good as that, it's going to be phenomenal. So, we're super proud. Like I said, Kisner knows what a great whiskey is. He loves chicken cock, obviously, and he's a man of good taste. And I have to imagine that he picked one of the best barrels that we have in the double oak realm. So, to explain to you what this whiskey is, we got to go back to 2014. There was a little bit of an American white oak logging shortage going on that year, which not only affects the bourbon industry, it affects other things. But basically, they couldn't get into to the forest where they would usually harvest those logs at, because there was a bunch of snow runoff and rain that had oversaturated the ground. So getting, machines that are a couple tons in there to harvest logs, it's not exactly ideal. And that made the bourbon industry run into a little bit of a shortage with barrels. And so the producer who made this whiskey initially made it as a bourbon. It's 80.5% corn, 11% rye, and 8.5% malted barley. However, they didn't have new barrels to put it in, so they dumped it back into used barrels that they had. That's why this is called a Kentucky whiskey versus a bourbon. So it aged in those used barrels for the first 7 years. When we got an opportunity to bring on this inventory, we had our master distiller taste it, and he said, you can only squeeze so much flavor and quality out of a used barrel before it's like trying to squeeze blood from a rock. So we wanted to give this whiskey more flavor, depth, quality, character, you name it. So what we did was we sourced some barrels. They didn't go through the normal medium plus SOS and level 3 char like we do on the regular chicken cock line. We just didn't have inventory to do it with. So we sourced some barrels, brand new American white oak, level 4 char. We dumped the whiskey back into those barrels, and then we strategically further aged them at the very top parts of the rick house at Bardstown Bourbon Company, because they're going to be exposed to that sweltering Kentucky heat during the summer and cold temperatures during the winter. And therefore, you're able to maximize how much flavor you're able to pull out of that barrel through the maturation cycle. So after 18 months or a year and a half, we pulled this whiskey back out and dumped it out. Man, it turned into one of the best things, in our core lineup here. Again, our normal off-the-shelf double oak is 92 proof. For these single barrel selections, including the Kisner barrel, it was aged for 9 years in total. So, 2 years total in that brand new oak, and then bottle at barrel proof. So usually, I'm not sure what the proof is on that Kisner barrel. I have to imagine it floats close to 120.
Yep.
I'm not sure if it says in the bottle.
119.2.
Beautiful. So what you're going to get, on a normal double oak, I typically get a lot of very heavily accentuated sort of desserty flavors. So creme brulees, which is, more heavily vanillas and sort of dessert flavors. A little bit of cola syrup. There's some cinnamon red hot in there. And these single barrels, right, again, accentuate so much of that great flavor profile we're able to pull on our normal double oak and really maximize it. So I'm excited for you guys to try that.
Oh yeah, that is good. Mm-hmm.
I can smell the cinnamon just before you even.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm smelling? I think I'm smelling cinnamon.
Well, we've learned that no matter what you smell or taste, you're right. Everybody smells and tastes something different, I feel like. This best way I can describe it is it's almost got like a warming taste. It's like I taste it and it's like I feel like I just had like a warm dessert or something. Like you get that?
But like dessert.
But like dessert. Yeah, this nice warm dessert. That is, and at 119, I know a lot of people, especially if they don't drink a lot of whiskey, they're like, oh man, that's gonna burn my face off or something. This doesn't drink like it's a 120 proof at all, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That is good.
Yeah. They truly don't. Good. Yeah.
Very
we
good.
are very proud of those single barrels of double oak. Because again, I mean, the flavor profile that's coming off of those is just phenomenal. And you bring up like the warm sort of dessert. Yeah. Between all the wood contact, right? The double oak process that this went through, the high corn recipe, transfers into a lot of more of those baking spices and just like that warmth. And it's got so much great flavor on the palate. It's so well-rounded, just makes it an exceptional pour. And this is our double oak single barrel picks, the Kisner pick. It's going to be more of a slow sipper, right? You're going to want to sit there and take your time with it, whether it's around the bonfire or pairing it with a cigar, or, having a toast with your buddies after a good round or a bad round. You could go either way.
Yeah, for sure. When you said cigar, that's immediately I was like, this would be perfect with a cigar.
With this, or I could see us sitting around the fire pit.
The fire pit, yep.
On a chilly night.
Yeah. And so you touched on it a little bit, but so I will admit I'm not the biggest golf watcher, so I looked up a lot on Kevin Kisner, and man, he cracks me up. He's got this like perfect dry humor deliver where it's just so funny. Like he's just such a laid back, funny guy. What was he very hands on with most of the process of picking the Kevin Kisner limited release here, and what was it kind of like working with him?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I wasn't part of him selecting these barrels, but he was hands-on with selecting them. Right, he signed off on them, and like I said, I think he picked some of the best whiskey in our arsenal using these double oak picks. But man, I just know that from experience, he is just, again, I go back to him being such a down-to-earth guy. And that's what we're all about here, right? We're a small, nimble company, and this brand has a lot of amazing heritage and history, and we're doing the brand justice here in modern day. So to have somebody like him helping represent our product out there, again, with a name like Chicken Cock and what we try to get across, right? You got to be a little bit more relaxed in telling that story, right? Because people are always going to be curious, and you want somebody with a little bit of sense of humor and down-home goodness, and he's just overall such a great guy, and he's fantastic to work with, and we love his humor on and off the course, and so he's a great fit for what we're doing.